Hmm. 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 Welcome to another episode of the Nick and Dan Show, ladies and gentlemen. Dan, how are you today?
Doing well, how about you?
I'm doing all right. Guys, don't forget to comment, and we're going to drop another bit of hot fire on your asses. Dan? I heard the news, baby, all about your disease. Yeah, you may or you won't, baby, but I got something you need. Oh yeah, and talking about love. My love is running to the core. And talking about love, just like I told you before. Yeah, before you know you're semi-good looking. It's on the street again. Oh yeah, you think you're really talking, mama? You better find yourself a friend. Oh yeah, talking about love. My love is running to the core. And talking about love, just like I told you before. Yeah, before. I've been in the years. Yeah, I sort of look down. Know I lost a lot of friends, baby. There ain't no time to mess around. So if you want it, got to bleed, baby. 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 I'm talking about love. Love is riding to the door. It's talking about love. Just like I told you before. Just before. It's talking about love. Don't wanna talk about. It's talking about love. Wanna talk about.
Just like
That. Hey rats, before we continue, just want to remind you to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. That way you keep up to date with all the cool new videos coming out weekly from Exham Priory. Alright ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another wonderful week of the Nick and Dan Show with Nick, Dan,
What's up?
and Carl. What's up, fuckers?
Nah.
Whatever. And tonight, we're going to talk about the progression of a band.
Yeah.
Now, this might be something that we know a little bit about.
Very little.
Just a little bit. But, conversations with people that aren't musicians, they've asked, what's it like being in a band? How do things come together?
It's a lot of bullshit, a lot of hard work for very little payoff.
It really, really is. Wait, you mean you're not in this to make money?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh, good, because I'm not either.
No.
So, Dan, let's talk about the progression of a band. And, guys, we'll use the band that we're in right now, Exham Priory. By the way, feel free to go down in the links in the description here. And you can find a link to get awesome shirts like this. Or if you're watching last week's episode, or do at some point, you can see the sweet-ass one that Dan's rocking in that episode. But, Dan, okay, so progression of a band.
All right. Well, somebody's got to have the idea to be like, yo, we're starting a band, or we're getting the band back together from a previous project you might have been in, and a lot of musicians have several.
Mario, we're looking at you.
So anywho, the call comes out, You got a couple of people in mind, an idea of where you want to take this band, what the sound is going to ultimately sound like.
So for this, guys, what we probably be more familiar with, if you're not in bands, is the garage band stage or the basement stage, depending on where the fuck you practice.
Pretty much.
Or you guys get together to jam for the first couple of times, because who knows if this is really going to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, from my experience, usually those first couple of get-togethers involve a couple of drinks or a lot of drinks and covers.
Yeah.
And you look at each other, you figure out, okay, what covers do we all kind of know? Sort of.
Sort of well enough to make it sound like we know what we're doing, I guess.
So, I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of bands start.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys, if your bands are different or if they're the same, again, throw comments down there. Let us know what type of covers you were knocking around on when you first started. So covers is definitely where I know I started with almost every band that I've been in, and I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, I know you've been in a few.
Mm-hmm.
How about your experience?
It's pretty much the same thing. Covers. I mean, again, walking into this band, you guys had a couple originals already before the band was a solid unit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, mainly covers are, just something. Maybe one of your members has played out in the music scene before. They got a song that they had written previously that they. You really enjoy, hey, play that one fucking song. We'll try to follow along with it.
Right.
So, I mean, a lot of it is mainly like what you touched on, covers.
So you start off with the covers. Now, Dan, where do we go from there? Because I've drank a lot over the course of this band, so remind me.
We go deeper in the cover vault.
Damn it. More covers, apparently. But no, where do we go from there?
Your first original song.
Okay.
Is obviously the next progression point. And mainly that goes back to a couple episodes ago when we talked about songwriting, how you guys come up with songs.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a riff or whatever. Some guys thinking it all day at work. Hey, this would be really cool if I played this. I wonder if I could get the other guys to play along.
Right.
And you just try to build it up from there. And eventually, hopefully, you come up with your first original song. And then that aspect of that is also kind of the, let's say, training camp for you sports fans on whether or not you want to stick with the members in your band. Whether or not you want to rotate some things, figure out what's going on with that.
Right, and I feel like that's where a lot of projects fall apart.
Oh, absolutely.
At that point. Because maybe people decide that it's not what they want to do, not the lineup that they like, and they start trying to swap out things, and it just falls apart.
Absolutely. I mean, and not even on the musical aspect of it either. Sometimes life plays in. You got a guy who really wants to join a band, but can't make it to practice every week. He's maybe like a every third month kind of thing will show up and jam around. Which, if you want to take a band to go on stage and play shows, isn't really going to help you.
So a lot of bands fall apart at that point. Now, from there, I feel like we then get into the writing stage of the band, where we're not quite, a basement band anymore, a garage band, where a band is starting to actually build itself into something. They're writing music, they're maybe getting the studio to record a couple of demos, and really working themselves up towards something. I know, honestly, I've been in a lot of bands, and only very few of them have made it that far. A lot tend to fall apart, like I said, in that kind of second-ish stage.
Absolutely.
So from there, okay, so the band has written some new songs, they've recorded maybe a 1, 2, 3 track demo. Where do we go from that point on?
Start getting yourself some shows, getting out there. Just taking, again, this band that we're currently in, Exham Priory, for example, we kind of had all of that together before our first show even came out. We came to our first show with a 3-track EP. So at that point, you start booking shows, you start getting in front of people, a little bit of stage time, audience in front of you, and then once again, that brings you up to the third level of, okay, now you're actually a
active band?
Yeah, active band, for lack of a better term.
Now again, this is a stage where some bands just never make it to. I've also been in a lot of projects where we've recorded demos and never actually made it to the stage, either because we just can't pull it all together, or you got that one asshole in the mix who writes songs that are way too complex to ever play on stage. They have that latter Beach Boys, Beatles approach to everything, where it's never intended to really be played live in front of people. The guy, he stays around the studio for a couple of hours after and throws on 20 other guitar parts.
Absolutely.
Definitely been in projects like that.
A lot of stages don't have enough room for all these synths.
No, they really don't. They certainly don't.
Yeah.
So we've got our initial live stage. Start booking a couple of shows. Now, once you get into the show stage of things, I feel like even in there we've got a couple of progression stages as well. Because first, you maybe play to a couple of your friends, you have them over for a party, you jam. Then you get out on an actual stage with a couple of other bands.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
And then our next phase is where you really start to saturate. You know, you play as many shows as you can within a short amount of time so people know your name and maybe can actually sing along with at least one of the choruses in your songs.
However, there's a fine line in there between saturation and oversaturation, which we found out ourselves.
Yes, where you start to see a steep dive off on people coming out to your shows because they've already seen you 3 times in the past 2 months, and
Exactly.
that's a lot. So the next stage that I kind of see beyond that is even, you know, the outward spiral. You stop playing just your hometown, you start hitting other towns and cities in the area.
True. And I'm, for lack of a better reference, going to kind of equate this to almost like a high school. Your freshman year was your garage. Now you're on the sophomores. You're starting to play stages with a couple of other bands who are just now freshly coming out. You're touring around. Now you're starting to become a junior. You're starting to play with other upperclassmen, and as Nick said, kind of spiraling outward, trying to get almost a little local mini tour together.
So for those of you that can actually remember high school, think of this like if you were on the sports team, you were on JV, you hit your first part of junior, and they upgrade you to the varsity level.
Woo!
Yeah! All right. But, so again, a lot of bands don't make it to that point. A lot of bands tend to actually stop in that playing their hometown and maybe the town adjacent, which that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with just playing your hometowns and the adjacent towns around you. But then you get the next small batch that really does start through the outward spiral. I'll use STEM. STEM is a great local Niagara Falls band, or even I know for a while they were touring themselves as a Buffalo band, whatever. But they really did a great job with this, where they started off just playing local shows, Niagara Falls, and then they really began to hit other areas. Buffalo is our neighboring town, then out to Rochester, Albany, Pennsylvania, Ohio. They did a wonderful job with this.
Yeah, they really did kind of set the roadmap for all the other local bands in the area. It's kind of just a guide to follow, you know, kind
Right.
of how they did it.
And, I mean, Joe Caffarella, the longtime guitarist and then in several aspects the singer of the band, he definitely coached us a little bit in the early days of our band to kind of give us an idea of where the hell we want to go. Okay, so now we got the outward spiral. Now let's talk about the next step that even fewer bands get to. The touring. Actually touring. Not just, 2-3 hour drive from where you live, but really getting on the road.
You made it. You're seniors. Welcome.
Now, we ourselves in Exham Priory haven't even fully gotten into this. We've played some out of the area shows, like good drives, but never a tour. I've gone on tour before with my old punk band, The Fixed, and I mean, sometimes a successful tour is coming back with all the original members that left on said tour, where half the band didn't quit.
And your equipment intact.
Right. So that one is a tough one. That's a lot of work, a lot of dedication. You're going to lose money. And then after that, really the next step is the national touring artist and then international touring artist, which is the upper echelon of the band.
Those are your college graduates, for those of you following at home.
That actually found a job in the field.
That's right.
That they majored in.
They're not x-ray technicians working to drive through a Burger King.
Exactly. So that's the few. The very few. And I won't lie, nowadays I feel like that is almost becoming a thing, like the mythical status, a thing of the past.
I think so.
And I hate saying that, but it is kind of true because the music industry isn't what it used to be. It's not what we grew up with.
No.
It's much more the online presence, the followers, as opposed to reaching that final tier. And the market is so oversaturated with so many bands nowadays that it's difficult for a band to stick out and shine.
Absolutely.
So guys, we're just about at the end here, so I want to give one takeaway. If you think your friend's band is fucking awesome, support them every way you can. But I think that's it, Dan.
I think so. You're going to leave them on a cliffhanger.
We are. Guys, listen. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.